As we move forward right here on the game on Tide 102.9 and 100.9, we're talking about Iron Bowl history, and it's certainly a big part of our topics throughout the week to feature a lot of former players that have played in this big game. You know, I go back to 2001. Just a couple of days ago, we went through our favorite Iron Bowl memories, and this game came up quite a bit with the fans of that 2001 victory on the Plains. One of those guys that had a big catch was Jason McAddley. I hope you're doing well, Jason. Welcome into the game here in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's great to come back and be able to talk to the Alabama community, man. Definitely miss being there and definitely miss playing.
No doubt, no doubt. Certainly we miss you catching all those big-time catches. But, we were talking about this 2001 game a couple of days ago, and we're talking about great memories. What do you remember most about that game?
I mean, just the game that, our team that year, I know we struggled a little bit, and we came into that game, and we were playing for a lot. We were playing to go to a bowl game. We were obviously the big rival with Auburn, and we were confident that we could win the game. And we came in there with the game plan. I think they were looking towards that option, and we came in with Andrew Zhao out there at quarterback, and kind of threw their defense off a little bit. We were throwing the ball a little more than what they were used to, so it definitely helped us in the long run. And we had some big plays by a lot of players in that game. There's a lot of contributions from both offense and defense.
But now going back to that game for just a couple of minutes, leading up to that game, it was sort of silent of which quarterback was going to start. Was it going to be Tyler Watts? Was it going to be Andrew Zhao? Talk about sort of that moment and trying to keep that under secret until you opened up down in Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Well, I think that was more of a coach's decision. I think that if Tyler needed to play, he may have been able to. But Coach Franchione had pretty much decided that we were going to go with Zhao that week, and he got most of the first team reps, and we kind of had based our game plan around that. Like I said, it's always nice to have that two quarterback combination to where defenses have to prepare for two different types of quarterbacks, because it makes them work even harder and have to split what they spend their time on studying. So definitely was an advantage for us to come in with Andrew in at quarterback and throw their defense off.
Let me ask you, when you look back at helping us understand not just that game, but the Iron Bowl in general, when you talk about Alabama and Auburn, I mean, this rivalry is so intense. When you're there at the game, if you're not playing, you can cut it with a knife. When you look back, how would you describe the Alabama and Auburn rivalry to an outsider?
There's nothing else like it. I mean, you can look at every rivalry in the nation throughout college football. There's nothing like it. Alabama, Auburn, when you think about college football, you think about that rivalry. There's other states that have professional football. They have all these other teams. Alabama has Alabama and Auburn, and it comes down to those two. And if you're not from Alabama and you come to Alabama, you'll have to choose one at some point, and usually pretty quick. So yeah, it's definitely a huge rivalry. I think it's something that's known nationwide. Somebody gets to be happy for 364 days out of the year, and somebody's going to be upset, and that's just how it is.
And certainly the state stands still for 3 or 4 hours. Jason, when you look at this team right now, what is your thoughts about Alabama's current team?
I'm very impressed with what Coach Saban's done with this year's team. I definitely follow Alabama football. I'm definitely very involved in how the players play and what they're doing and what Alabama's doing from week to week. Obviously, having a true freshman at quarterback is definitely surprising, but I think he's played very, very well. It's somewhat of a young team. It's something, Alabama, you think about running the ball, and here we are, this, different offense than what we're used to seeing, but it's worked, and it's been a joy to watch. Defense is playing lights out. I can't say anything better about this defense. Probably one of the best that Alabama has seen in a while. And Nick Saban's had some really great defenses, but they're playing lights out, and they're definitely a quality defense and a quality team overall.
When you look back at Jalen Hurts, and I try to get a player perspective from this, I mean, I can imagine any team that it would be hard to lead as a kid just right out of high school. but he walked into a national champion locker room, guys who have been at the top of that mountain. And a guy walks in and is able to command that offense and get that leadership role. That has to be very difficult for a true freshman quarterback to walk in a national champ locker room and get that respect from his teammates.
You're absolutely right, and you don't see that happen very often. But knowing that that was a national championship team the year before, and coming in and earning that respect from the the older players that have been there for a while, just goes to show what a great guy he is. He obviously, you can't go in there and command and lead a team by just talking about it. You lead by example, and that's definitely what he's done. From the beginning, he's earned the trust. That's something that you earn. You don't just go in there and it's handed to you. You earn the trust of your teammates and of your coaches to go out there and do the right things and make the right plays. And he's done that. And hats off to him for being able to accomplish that.
When I look back, do you remember the days that you were recruited to the University of Alabama and when you made that decision to attend the university?
I do. I was Dabo Sweetie was actually the person that recruited me to the University of Alabama. Yeah, that was my coach my first 3 years there at Alabama. So he was one of the big reasons why I did come. He's a very likable coach. Alabama had a lot of tradition, like my high school had a lot of tradition. So Alabama was definitely the right fit for me. And I enjoyed the coaching staff. I loved the campus. I loved the people, all the fans. I couldn't have chosen a better program to play for.
Yeah, no doubt. When you look at the University of Alabama, I'm just curious, in your office there, because you make your home in Arizona, right?
That's correct.
All right. In your office, do you have that print of the game breaker with Andrew Zhao sort of leaning down, catching that catch?
Absolutely. Of course I do. I have a few. I actually have a few copies. I only have one hanging up, but I obviously gave one to my parents, and my brother has one. But yeah, we definitely have those posted up at all of our houses. So definitely a great memory of my career and a great memory of just the rivalry between Alabama and Auburn, and with us coming out victorious. So that's always great.
Oh, it was a great game. Andrew came out 22 of 29, totaling 221 yards, 2 touchdowns. I was a fan in that game. I wasn't a member of the media, but that was the loudest 10,000 in that corner of that end zone down in their stadium. 31-7, victory on the Plains, number 2. That was just a great place to win. And I remember that defense. You guys went down and had a great performance. And it was just one of those favorite moments when you think about Iron Bowl history.
Absolutely. And that was our senior year. So that was just a perfect way to cap it off. And, and Daniel Moore making the painting of us, giving us a forever memory to, we can always look at that. And just the fact that we're, people look at that as something as a big play and a big rivalry, and something that goes down in history. So it's always nice to be known for your accomplishments, and that's something that I'll always cherish. From playing at the University of Alabama.
Final question. Now, this is a very easy question. I expect that you'll knock it out of the park. You talked about Alabama's defense a couple of minutes ago. You've played high at the college level. You played in the National Football League. How would you attack this defense?
Man, I wouldn't run side to side. It's very hard to run the ball against them. I think the teams that have success against Alabama's defense are running quarterbacks that can throw. Running right at Alabama's defense is just not going to work. Running side to side is not going to work. You're going to have some gimmick plays in the run game, spread them out. If you have a quarterback that can run the quarterback. Alabama plays a lot of man. So if you have a running quarterback, you're usually going to have a spy on him just to make sure that the quarterback can slide out on 3rd and 10 and run for the first down. So that's what I would do against Alabama's defense. But Coach Saban, he's a great coach, and he's got those players coached up superbly. And I think it'll be a good game. And I think Alabama will come out victorious in this one.
Jason, when you look back at the pride that you have right now and what Alabama's been able to accomplish, I know you guys have always been proud of Alabama, but right now the greatest dynasty probably in college football history. Do you sort of flash that ring a little bit, show the jersey? Hey, that's my school out in Arizona.
I definitely, I have my Alabama presence out here in Arizona, and all my friends, out here, they know what I represent. They know that I love Alabama football. better than NFL, better than anything else. I always talk about Alabama football. And that's one of the first, even when I meet new people, one of the first things that comes up is when, where they go to school or, what's their favorite program. Alabama football to me is just, it's always going to be there. So much tradition, NFL teams, players come and go. But Alabama's always going to have that tradition and that camaraderie.
Jason, I really appreciate you spending a couple of minutes with us talking about this Big Iron Bowl history. Thanks again, and we'll certainly try to catch up very, very soon. Thank you again for spending a couple of minutes with us.
Hey, no problem. My pleasure, man. Roll Tide.